It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of your Real Estate Breakfast, talking property news every day right around Australia, 7 days a week. And you can hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Amazon as we work our way through another busy week up to a Thursday morning, September the 26th. And in just a moment, we're going to take you to Bondi, and then we are off to Dubai to find out about Party Central. What is that all about? We'll tell you in just a moment. And I want to talk about 101 suburbs across Australia that has seen median house prices rise by over $1 million in 5 years. Now, that is according to realestate.com.au this morning. Most of these suburbs are capital cities, with 86 located in Sydney. Probably not so much a surprise. Only 7 regional suburbs made the list, including Byron Bay, Sunshine Coast, and also Surfers Paradise. And Sydney's Bellevue Hill recorded the highest price growth, with a $4 million increase, reaching a median of $9.75 million. Sydney's suburbs dominate the list due to its high property values and significant growth, and suburbs like Vaucluse, North Bondi, Bronte and Mossman also saw gains of over $2 million. And remember, that $2 million is over a 5-year period. Wouldn't it be nice to have some real estate in those areas? And since we are talking about Sydney, let's head off to Bondi this morning and catch up with Paul Langsam. He is from Raine and Horne Double Bay in Bondi. And pretty eye-watering money that we're talking about there, Paul.
Good morning, Craig, and thanks for inviting me on. It is fascinating to hear those statistics, but we are seeing that, particularly in the Bondi area, we are seeing a lot of activity, even though we've just exited the winter months. There's been less properties on the market over that period, which is traditionally what, in this area. But we are still seeing really healthy buyer inquiry on all of our properties that we're representing across the board. And I mean, Bondi has a very wide range of values. Entry level, if you want, for a studio, somewhere around $500,000 or $600,000. But, you can also go to, as you said, those eye-watering amounts of, 20 million plus for apartments and or houses. So there is certainly a very strong demand across the board on all those prices, and it just comes down to supply and demand.
All right, so what do you say to those listeners thinking that Bondi might be a little bit too expensive for them? Because, as you alluded to, there are different suburbs, different sub-markets of Bondi that have those different price points. And I just wonder how often you kind of find that from an agent's point of view, where people think it's just out of their reach to get into the market of Bondi.
Yeah, look, great question. But look, in terms of Bondi is a very large suburb, and that covers, Bondi Beach, where the commercial strip is, and the surrounds. Then you've got North Bondi, and you've also got the South Bondi end, and they're sub markets for themselves. We often find in that North Bondi and South Bondi area, you got the family home areas. A lot of Bondi Beach, you do have the family homes there, but you've also then got a lot more apartments at different price levels, as we've just suggested.
All right, so let's have a look at the median price points. At the moment, it is hovering for houses around that 3.750, and for units at the moment, 1.4 million. If we just look at the median price on those units, median price being exactly that, people can buy under that in Bondi, in certain sub-markets that you're talking about for a unit?
Yeah, Craig, most definitely they can do that. So obviously there's things that they will have to compromise on, but whether it's a studio or one bedder or two bedder, it obviously will then be dependent on whether the property has parking and or a balcony. So these are things that buyers, investors, and homeowners will have to take into consideration. But most definitely there is still an opportunity to buy below that, and it also depends on where it's located and how far back from the beach it might be as well.
What are you expecting to happen between now and Christmas time in the market in terms of, okay, we're in spring? Has that sort of fueled buyer inquiries? You did say that there seems to be plenty at the moment.
Most definitely. I mean, we traditionally find, in this spring market now from September through till about the end of November, early December, an increase in listings. And Bondi's always had that appeal from an overseas buyer. They're often expats. They've got the additional advantage of, if they have been working overseas for a while, the current currency conversion, which is in their favour. So we have found that as a buyer, we were also engaging on overseas buyers looking to come back into Sydney after perhaps they've been overseas for a period of time.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there. Great to chat with you, Paul, and good luck between now and the rest of the year in the Bondi market. Thanks for giving us a little bit of a breakdown this morning.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Every week we present so much real estate. Powerful, up-to-date news every morning from 6 a.m. Know your property with us on the Real Estate Podcast.
And it is a Real Estate Thursday. Right now, let's head off to Dubai and catch up with our friend there, Mario Volpi, with some property news. And Mario, Dubai is fast becoming the beach haven party capital for the world, for those looking for developers who are rivaling other cities around the world for this new market lifestyle, beach carnival, happy party central.
Yeah, that's right. Dubai is definitely quickly becoming the beach club capital of the world. Soon it will be home to 7 of the world's most favourite clubs. So I'd like to just go through some of these ones for the listeners to give them an indication as to exactly the direction of where Dubai is going. So the first is Casa Amor, Saint-Tropez. They will be bringing their boho chic vibes to the Mandarin Oriental Hotel down in Jumeirah 1. The second one, after charming the streets of Paris and basking in the Saint-Tropez sunshine, Gigi will open its next beach house at J1 Beach at Le Maire. Next up is Ushuaia. This is an Ibethan institute who will bring a host of incredible DJs to Dubai Harbour later this winter. Now, if you fancy some black cod on the beach, this soon will be available as Dubai becomes the third destination to have a Zuma beach house. Next is Baoli, the Cannes celebrity hotspot, who will set up shop at J1 Beach later this year as well. Following its popular pool parties again in Ibiza, O Beach will open its second venue this year. And lastly, Gaia, which is the DIFC favourite, will open its first Serene by Gaia, and this promises to be the world's largest beach club. All in all, it's going to be an amazing lineup of fantastic places to party and have fun by the beach.
Now, it's been reported that some Dubai developers are making it even easier to get onto the property ladder. And what I'm talking about here is payment plans. The hotter the market, the less likely you will see favourable payment plans. Why? Simply because the developers, Mario, don't have to offer them all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Now, this was very interesting because what you just said is absolutely correct. If the market is white hot, they don't need to offer these incentives. But some developers are starting to offer payment plan options as low as 0.5% a month. Now, these were previously being offered at 1% a month. But in order to perhaps keep the sales momentum going for longer, some have slashed this by half for specific projects, while others are extending this scheme to all of their new launches. So it's a situation, I guess, where these developers are wanting to maintain the status quo for fear of maybe the market leveling off a little bit. They are now offering these really, really good plans. And it's a great way to get onto the property market here in Dubai with these low payments, which often amount to perhaps the amount of a car hire cost, for example.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And the word executive nomad, it is a relatively new expression which, as the title might lead you to think, captures and clarifies next level of residential living. And these executive nomads now top a Seville's index for these types of workers in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. You got a bit of details too surrounding this one.
Yeah, so Dubai has been recognized as the best city in the world for basically long-term remote workers. This is for the second year running, according to the Savills Nomad Index report, as you say. But Abu Dhabi, meanwhile, is hot on Dubai's heels, moving up 2 places to second. Now, the report ranks 25 destinations looking at favourable year-round climate, obviously a high quality of life, and have established prime residential markets. And all the remote workers either have a digital nomad visa or the equivalent, or in the case of the United States and the European countries, are already part of a large economic bloc that allows this free movement of people for living and work. But of course, Dubai has a very large advantage here due to the connectivity, with Dubai International being the world's busiest airport for international passenger traffic. And the recently announced Al Maktoum will become the world's largest airport upon completion. But it's also interesting to see that cities with beachside access continue to outperform in the top 10, led by Malaga, who came in third, Miami fourth, Lisbon fifth, Barcelona sixth, and Palma in Mallorca in seventh.
Well, Dubai just defies, doesn't it, the doubters all the time with its growth and unprecedented amount of new off-plan properties on the market. Every day there is a new development launched by either an existing well-known developer in Dubai or new player developers that are coming into the market. Mario, great to catch up as always. Enjoy the Dubai lifestyle, and thanks again for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast and making us feel like we're missing out in some way.
My pleasure, Craig, and goodbye to all the listeners.
From interest rates rising, a shifting landscape, rentals running hot, clearance rates, a tight rental market, we cover it all every morning from 6 a.m. on the Real Estate Breakfast.
Some of these things like land tax thresholds and, minimum property standards, things like having to do property upgrades to older properties, these things are things to consider when looking at the overall cost of holding an investment property.
Yeah, I kind of look at a mortgage broker very much like a jigsaw puzzle, like you upend the jigsaw puzzle and there's many moving pieces on the jigsaw board. But when it's just yourself, if you're not engaging somebody like a mortgage broker, when you switch that upside down, there might only be 3 or 4 pieces as opposed to 100 pieces from a mortgage broker.
Exactly. And I think that over the years, I've made some amazing connections whilst doing this role. We've got buyers advocates and agents and planners. And so I suppose it really is that one-stop shop where they can go and feel like they're being loved by so many different services, where buying a property, the hardest part for them should just be having to pick where they want to buy.
6 weeks ago, we've seen another lift. So probably 50% of our inquiry at the moment is investors from interstate. Probably 50 to 60% of our offers are from investors from interstate.
From first-time home buyers to seasoned investors to breaking property news, discover the stories behind the real estate. We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.